Okay, so
Go ahead, John.
one other question. What's the advantage of using ivory black versus Mars black or the other way around?
Oh, no, you could use Mars black. You could use any black you have. But ivory black, I think when you mix it with white, you will get a more of a bluish color, kind of a bluish color. It's ivory black is not as, it doesn't take over when you're using it with other colors. It doesn't take over. It's not opaque and heavy. That's why I use ivory black. I find ivory black is the best one for me personally, but it's up to you. You can use any purple, any black. It doesn't matter.
Okay, thank you.
You could do that. Okay, so this is a light gray. You see here, it's like a neutral gray, kind of. And I'm just gonna go in the back, and I'm gonna go. Yeah, and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going up and down. This is the sky, kind of. I see a silhouette of buildings in the back. So I'm not worried about anything else. Like these here, the wires and of cable and wires. I'm not worried about that. You could go around them if you like, or you could put them back. Right now, what I wanted to see is make sure that whatever I'm putting in the background. Now, this is kind of not where the sky is. There are buildings right here, but they're very faint. And I'll show you, we're gonna let it dry. And when it dries, it goes darker. But I'm getting to this part right here, So the closer I get to me, to where I am, the foreground, the kind of darker the value is, but not very dark. So this is sky, and you can see here, it's starting to dry and it's starting to get darker. So I'm not going to darken my color right now. I'm just gonna go with what I have and wait for it to dry, and then I'll adjust the value if it needs to be adjusted. So this is here.
Leo, we've mixed it. It looks green. It looks to be a very pale green.
Yes. Is it ivory black you have?
Yes.
Yes.
And titanium white?
Yeah.
Yes. It's okay. It's the lighting you have too.
Oh,
yes, it's okay. It's the lighting in the where you are. Yes, it does give this greenish kind of.
And you've gone over all the lines, like above the streetcar?
Yes, I went over them. It's up to you if you want to kind of keep a bit, but I can put them back.
Is your painting actually darker than what shows?
No, it's not that dark. Not dark. That darker.
Mine looks very dark.
Because you put too much black in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter. I prefer that the paint is darker than light, because when you have light paint, you have nothing. You don't have anything. You know what I mean? Like light paint is nothing. And I wouldn't worry about what the value is going to be, like how dark or light your color is for now, because like I said, we could always glaze it and push it back and make it lighter than what you see, and we can play around with that. See, the purple is showing through, which is great. So now what I'm going to do is just put a bit of more black in there, just tiny bit, not much, because it's going to dry darker. So always keep in mind that what you're mixing right now, when it's dry, it's going to dry darker. And you could always go back and darken your values if you need to.
Hmm?
Oh, are these the buildings?
Yes, on the side. Yeah, I'll show you in a minute. You'll see. You'll see when we start highlighting, you'll see how. I don't want to look at details at all in there. I just want to look at mass, you know, big mass of colors in there. I'm increasing the amount of black in there and going to the building on the left. This one is a nice one. So it's a dark and it anchors the rest of the, let's give it some shape.
Lyle,
Yes.
I have a question for you. You painted over that Google Maps mapping photo apparatus was on top of the streetcar. Is that gone for good now, or?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, that
Which
thing up, no, that thing up on top, that thing. Is that Google Maps? Google Images?
Google Images?
Isn't that
No,
the thing that drives around taking pictures?
That circular thing is like,
This is, yeah, I guess we can, yeah. We can put it back.
My painting is all green.
That's okay. That's okay. It's the lighting at night. It's okay. Tomorrow it will be a different color when you wake up and look at it. It's okay. We can
Certainly
glaze it.
sounds-
Yeah, we can glaze it any color we want after. I'm not worried about, I'm not concerned about this. We can adjust it. What we want, because any other color, if you want to do what we're doing right now with any other color, which is the value, remember the value scale when we put light, we go from light to dark with one color. If you do that with any other color than black and white right now, you're going to end up with a strong color. Whatever we use, let's say we use purple or blue and white, purple and white. We're going to end up with a lot of purple and a lot of white in there. I mean, a lot of blue. So I wouldn't worry about this right now. You will see. You'll see. Just
Trust me.
trust me. Mine is green too. Okay, now I'm adding more white, a lot more white. Let's start with medium white, medium gray in here. And let's increase the amount of white.
Sorry, where are you putting that?
Down
Oh,
here.
at the front.
Mm,
Is it lighter than what's at the back?
yes, tiny bit lighter, yes. I'm increasing the amount of white in there. Don't put too much white though, because you really, when you do white is nothing. Nothing, you know, like you need to keep room for highlights. If you go white, too white, you're stuck. So I'm mixing a bit of gray right now, black and white. And I'm just going to come here, and you're welcome to put, if you like, the train tracks. Oh, that's not enough. Although this is too early to do here, to do this here. The train tracks, but it's okay. Or the streetcar. Make it too smooth, because it's messy in there. So now this is light gray, more white. This is what I had before and what I have right now. And smaller brush, so I can have more control. And what I'm going to do is go in between and do the sky in between. And by painting the sky, I'm going to outline the buildings. Okay, so this is negative painting. So let's say I start from here. Let's see, this one here is overlapping with that one here. So I can start from this part. Let's go down. Angle. And if it overlaps with the, actually, you know what, bring it in. And you can see the silhouette of the buildings already. This one, it's right here. And don't forget, we're going to be putting over this, the wires, electrical wires. So there will be movement in here. Even if you see it right now and it looks.
Are you talking about the Google pointer?
Yes,
Right.
that's what I'm talking about.
Didn't know they put those on streetcars, Lyle.
So we're going to do, the main thing here is to have some movement in the background. You don't want your sky to look like it's flat. There are no, take advantage of the darks so you could get some buildings happening in here. There. Don't make them equal. Don't repeat the same at the same level. This is, let's say this is longer. This is shorter. And all of a sudden I have a perspective where the buildings are going in by using just negative painting. And I'm keeping this soft, and I would like to do this one's the same softness, because I like this soft edge where the ones in the back are not harsh. Because that's what you don't see it. You don't see a harsh line when it's far away. It's usually the edge of the building is kind of in with the, it kind of melts with the sky. You know, it's like you could see the, like a aerial perspective because of the aerial perspective. Let's open this up a bit, this here, with the sky. Bring that corridor of buildings, soften this, because it was like harsh, two big buildings. That's better, that's better. Good. Okay. Yeah, I like that better. It's more, a little bit more open. It's not exactly the same happening on left and right. I know you're still painting the sky, but what I'm going to do right now is mix a gray, kind of a slightly darker than the sky. This is where value scale comes in handy. And I'm going to take a kind of very soft glaze those buildings and stop, kind of glaze this, come down here. It's kind of the more you look at it, the more detail you see, and it's better not to use go into details. I'm just glazing. So I'm using a light gray, medium gray that will be in between the color of the sky and the building next to it. I'm going to do the same here because it dries darker and I want these in the back to be softer. Just a play of grays. Let's do this. Okay, for this part, we're going to put a bit of detail in there, very kind of subtle suggestion of something in there, you know, windows. I wouldn't go into that. Like, I wouldn't go into really like showing a window frame and a window. No, I would go into more of, well, let me show you here. Lines, and it's what I did is I mixed black and white, but the value of this black and white is slightly lighter than what I have, and it's going to dry darker. So I'm not worried about this. So I'm going to go and put.
Mayal, are you recording?
Yes, I am recording this. So I am going to add lines in different directions. And that will give me a suggestion of something in there. Dots as well. This is the hardest part. This is the part where you want to know what to do to show something, to show movement. But at the same time, although it's hard, it's easy because you're not really showing something specific. So you could do any line. It's just a play of values. That's it. That's all you want to do. Play with your value scale. I'm using a round brush. I'm using a medium tone. And see how it's drying darker? It was stronger before. And that's good because I can add as much as I want. Lines and highlights and lines and values, change my value. You don't want to put just lines. You want to put some kind of, highlight it a bit with a lighter gray. And like I said, this is not going to be the way we see it. What you're seeing right now is going to change because once we start putting snow in there, all of this is going to change. Now, if you see that when you're putting your lines or changing your values, they're drying darker and you can't see them well, increase the amount of white. And we're going to do the same with darker value in a minute. It's not going to be just white. We're going to put some darks in there too. Two lines, maybe in between, Go over that. We have a bit of light color, and all of a sudden I'm seeing movement in there. It's like, it's becoming more interesting. And I really don't have to see, I don't have to look at something and say, oh, this is a light. Oh, this is, doesn't have to be like that. It's only, you choose what you put in there. You choose what you want to put. You choose what you want to show. Let's say, I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so I have lights in here and I'm taking them in on an angle to look, to show perspective. It's kind of a half a circle. That's what I'm doing. I'm just putting half a circle. So I'm putting geometric shapes in here.
So you're using very little gray in doing this, right?
I'm using very little, sorry.
Gray, sorry,
Gray.
black.
Yeah. Yeah, little black, very little black in there. So I might put a there. So all of a sudden I'm getting something, right? So later on, what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll put darker, a bit of the darker, a couple of darker lines, because you don't want to have just white floating. You want to get something in between there as well, like a darker value in between. But for now, we'll just use, let's do this like an awning, let's say here. And maybe something coming up this way too, coming out that way.
You have a great imagination. I don't know where you're seeing all this stuff. I see
something. I see something. Yeah, I see blurbs, but you know. Okay. Let's take a bit of darker, more black, like a darker gray. Let's go in between and, oh. And it doesn't matter if you go darker and it's too dark, that's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a certain kind of value, as long as you see shapes. Yeah, this is a bit too dark right now, so I'm going to glaze it. It's drying too dark, but that's okay. It's good. The more values I have here, the better. You don't want it to look like it's black and white. All of a sudden I'm getting kind of a movement. It's like city. It's it looks like something's happening here. Okay, let's get closer. And I am keeping this building here, this one, as my kind of guide. where to stop. So the closer I come to me, the more detail I'm gonna see. So detail meaning this, let's say rooftop right there, and the window. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into shape, a shape that I recognize. This is over here, and that one right there. Let's anchor this to see where I want to put. Let's take this window. But still, I don't want it to look exactly the same, because I don't want, again, I don't want to go into detail. I still don't want to go into detail. I'm just varying my, playing around with my values, that's all. I'm just not really trying to create anything specific. In between those values that I'm playing around with, I'm gonna put a line, let's say, or two lines right next to each other. Bring in a bit of dark in here. Okay.
Well, you're not doing a lot of shading further up. Is that intentional?
Pardon?
You're not doing a lot of the highlighting further up on the buildings. Is that intentional?
No, I'm just not getting there yet. That's
Oh,
all.
okay.
So like now this part is too dark and too long. So I'm gonna break it up. I'll break it up in, let's say, let's bring this. This is nice right here. Let's just break it up a bit. Oh. All of this is secondary. So we are looking at it right now, but because there's nothing else. But once we start putting the people and the streetcar and all of this, you're not going to see it the same way. It's going to be different. It's not going to be a focal point. This is not the focal point.
So your edges are not, they're all soft, eh?
Yes, 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 soft edges. Yes. I'm just playing with my values. Just putting geometric shapes in here that look like something. You know, sometimes the angle of the line is going on an angle, sometimes it's going straight. So I'm varying the direction of my lines and angles. So it makes it, the variety makes it look much more interesting. Okay, let's do now the one next to it. The one on the left, because it's kind of too flat. This one here, just too flat. So all I'm gonna do is just play around, like add some darks and lights and values, different values. Texture. Now the side of this building is darker, and you'll see in a minute. So I'm just texturing this part with black and white. And now let's take a wider brush. Let's take this one here. Actually, no, this one. Big brushes create flat, and we need a bit of texture in there. See? Oh, darker. That's better. It should be still darker than the one behind it. So I'm going to darken it a bit more. That's even better. There. And I can always highlight this. The reason I'm saying this, I'm working on that highlight and darken light over here because it creates depth. If all the colors are the same, the value is the same, it's going to be on the same level. You're not going to have depth. Okay. Let's take a bit of more white into like a lighter gray. And put the lighter gray. Oh, that's too light. Lighter gray here. That's better.
It's so hard to do because everything dries darker and it starts to all look the same.
Right. Yes. You just
not yours, but mine. Mine did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
I gave up and I'm watching you.
Mine too. But what I do is I adjust it. I keep on adjusting my values. Okay. So now to make this wall look up on an angle, that one here, what I'm going to do is just take a darker gray and just try to put a suggestion of a window, but not too dark, not black, just a dark gray. I'll make it bigger so you can see. Okay. gonna wait for it to dry and see if I need to go darker. I doubt I need to go darker. Okay, I'm gonna put another one here. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same. I mean, it doesn't have to have the bottom part and the upper part perfect. Upper part is enough. Let's do this. All right, that's good. That looks good. So if I take my black and white right now and go into a kind of a darker gray in here. This guy closer here is darker.
What are those supposed to represent, Lael?
This, what I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
people walking.
Oh. I thought they were trees. I was gonna ask you what type they were.
And I'm going to soften this. So again, with these, the further back they are away, the lighter they're going to look. So down here at the bottom, there are a couple of people here walking. And again, if it's dries darker, I will adjust the value. Oh, we're going to put that guy in soon. So this one here is closer to us, so that's why he's darker, but it's not a black. Okay, so just kind of, and don't make them look like they're separated, you know, like there's a hand, arm here and then the arm there, and mix them.
Does your painting look green?
Yes.
Because you keep saying gray and all I see is green.
Well, it is a gray. Technically, it's gray. It's not green. It's not sap green or green. It's
Pretty
gray.
olive green.
Oof.
Olive green.
Lael,
Yes.
I was working on white.
Yes.
I didn't put that gray or purplish background.
Right.
And I'm using white and Payne's gray. And it's coming beautiful.
But
No green. It's purplish. Mine is purplish.
but purplish, not blue.
Well, it's purplish. It looks like it. I don't know.
I was worried. I mean, I thought about using Payne's gray, but the Payne's gray I have, the Payne's gray I have is golden. So it has a bit more blue. It shows blue.
I see. So
That's
I'm using
why.
Galleria anyway.
Like shrubs. Doesn't look like people at all. Fine. It looks like a tree. Yeah.
The people you're doing they look like trees.
Yes, it looks like I put some shrubbery back there.
So all I did right now is I softened the values in between. So if there are any harsh edges, I blended them a bit. I was blending them, trying to blend them. So all of this is soft. You don't see a line. It just blends in, and it's just a bunch of geometric forms. That's it. So this is a glaze right now. This is black and white, and it's a kind of a light gray. And I'm putting kind of enough water in there. You can see it's transparent, but it's not runny. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go over what I've done. And that will soften the whole thing.
It's only water.
No, it's black and white. It's a gray, but it has it's glaze. It's transparent.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go over that. And all of a sudden you see all of those darks that I had before, they're soft. They're still there, but they're softer. I just glazed them. That's all I did. I glazed the whole thing with black and white and enough water in there for like a transparent color. If you're not sure if this is the right glaze, tonight, paint on a separate anything, a small, I buy these from the dollar store. They're really good. And I just put a bunch of colors on top of each other, like this. Let it dry.
Val, can you push it up a little bit?
Let it dry, just a bunch of colors, grays, not colors, grays. Let it dry. And this will be your sample to glaze, to find out if your color is the right consistency with water before you apply it. Although, I mean, even if you apply it here, it doesn't matter. But still, if you're not sure and you don't want to use your painting to see as a sample, have something like this on the side, and then
Practice glazing.
wait for it to dry. Pick up your color. See, the color should be kind of, see, that's kind of a soft, transparent. This is too dark. Transparent color. You can tell from here, even on this, on my paper. You can see that I can see those spots underneath. They're completely dry. I can see them. Even if I go over them, I can see them. That means my color is transparent. It's glaze. I can glaze with this color. What can I?
Can I bring mine over to you tomorrow and you glaze it?
Yes. But I mean, you don't want to, oh, here, this is a good one there. And, when you mix your color, this is really important. When you mix your color to create a glaze, to make a glaze, you mix your color, okay? You're using your brush. That means your brush has a lot of paint on it because you're mixing with it. You dip it in water and you do this. Okay, that's transparent right now. When your color is separating like this, like that, like this, that's too much water.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
so this is too much water. This is what's going to happen there. It's going to separate on your painting. So it shouldn't separate, but at the same time, it should be kind of, you can see the color, but it's not separating. Not as much as this. I mean, it might separate a bit. That's okay, because this is wax paper, but it shouldn't separate too much. So now let's see over this one here. Okay, so this is a good sample for me to know if these colors are, oh, that's it, that's better. Because I can still see the blue underneath. So what I do when I mix my colors, dip my brush, put water, mix, I wipe my brush. And then I glaze. This extra paint that's on your brush because you're mixing might be too heavy. So that's why I wipe it, make sure it's clean, and then I glaze. There, this is glazed, but you can still see, the yellow underneath, but it's glazed. But it's really much better if you can get use a sample before.
You've been recording this, right, Leo?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's nothing is going to happen. Even if you make a mistake, nothing's going to happen because you can redo it. You can redo all this. It doesn't matter. Try it. That's okay. Even if you make a mistake, even if it's too heavy, maybe too much water, wait for it to dry. The thing is with glazing, when you glaze, you're using water because we're not using a medium. Even if you're using a medium to make our color transparent, that's okay. But it's the same. But when you put your color over, let's say I put a wash glazing and it turned out to be too much water. Don't do anything. Just wait for it to dry. Because now what's happening, this water that's sitting on your color, on your paint, is moving the paint underneath that color. As it's exactly as if you dip your brush in water and you go over this, you're gonna lift it if it's not 100% completely dry. Once it's dry completely, then you glaze over it again. So glazing is once, and it's really soft. Don't push your brush hard. It's soft, kind of like this. Just go like that. Move your hand, move your hand, move your hand. Because now what you're doing is you're putting water over, liquid over the paint that you had there before. That's why they wait for glazing. Usually is done when the first layer or the layer that you want to glaze is completely dry, because otherwise it will lift the paint. It will activate the paint underneath. But if you do it, after half an hour, acrylic dries fast. So do something else, finish, forget about it. Don't glaze it now. Start working on something else. Go back to it, touch it. If you feel like it's not damp, glaze. And again, if your glazing is not right, wait, let it dry, wait. Because if you try to fix it at that time, it's not gonna happen. It's not, you'll get into trouble in there. That's the problem with glazing.